country. Where is it? It's in your man cave. Your home. Your car. Your local bar. Your city. State. It's across the world. It's in your heart. And it's here. The Bears Country Podcast.
Welcome to Bears Country Podcast on Barroom Network, Monday night after a Bears win. The game kind of went exactly how I thought it was going to go. These games against the Texans are just, they never seem to really be that easy of a game. And I was hoping to see Justin Fields start to light up that shitty secondary of the Texans, but they went to the ground game. We didn't really see much development out of Justin Fields like we all have been hoping for. I'm sure everyone has their panties in a bunch about that. I know I myself kind of do, but I think I have some reasons, at least that I'm trying to use to justify for that. And that reason for myself is that I think that they're just trying to really get the running game going. They're trying to establish it kind of like the Niners do, and then let Justin Fields kind of develop in the offense on the go, and then let the offense eventually start to come to him. I could be wrong, but that's the approach I'm going to take as to how I'm looking at this game, because there's a lot that we can sit and talk shit about, but it was a win. So, Dan, I'm sorry. I forgot to introduce. I'm here with Dan Aguire, and we have Cliff Victoria coming up shortly with his Cliff Notes. And Dan, give me your thoughts on the game.
Well, I don't want to sound like, oh, look how smart I am or anything, but I just thought with the emotion of Lovie Smith coming back, and if you can give me just a second to transition and come back to your question, at the end of the game, it seemed he was a little aloof, in my opinion, to Eberflus. And, Bear Down's playing, and maybe I'm just putting words in Lovey's mind here, so to speak, but I got the impression Lovey was like, man, this should still be my fucking job. This is where I wanted to be. Like, why did they take this away from me? And the fact that he lost the game exactly the way he wanted to win the game, too. Like, he liked winning ugly. He loved playing defense. Seeing Roquan with 16 tackles and a pick, that gives him a fucking hard-on thinking about Urlacher against Arizona. I really believe that to be true. Having said that, the fact that he feels wronged for his termination, I knew his guys would come out with emotion because everybody likes Lovey. I mean, you never hear anybody say anything bad about Lovey that plays for him. So it's like I knew they would come out fired up and determined to try to get this one. So I just felt it was going to be an ugly game. I didn't think Fields would play so badly to the point where it appears that like Mike Martz's criticism may have some validity. I don't want it to, but if someone comes out and says he sucks now, I can't just vociferously dismiss it, even if I'm not giving up on him. Right. But it was such an ugly win from Fields' performance, which he acknowledged, which I appreciate. But other than that, the 3-second answer is fuck it, man. A win is a win is a win is a win, and we're 2-1, and Cairo made the field goal, so thank God.
Yeah. I mean, I'm going with that, my first answer, that I just think that they're trying to develop him into the offense slowly. And they want to get the running game established. They want to get their offensive line established because offensive linemen love to run the ball. a lot more than they like to pass protect. So if they can get him in the groove with running the ball, I mean, they were pounding it down their throats. We have to give them that much. If they can keep that up, that's, in my mind, going to set up the pass in the future, and the game will hopefully start to come to Justin Fields more than him trying to find it himself, right? That's what I'm going with anyways.
I like your philosophy. It's certainly positive. And at this point, I don't know if I have a philosophy on it. I mean, I guess you could make the excuses that the line isn't necessarily pass blocking tremendously, because as soon as the ball gets there, he's got like 2 seconds and he's got someone hitting him every time.
Right.
But it's kind of like, how many quarterbacks have the Bears had over the years where they sort of got happy feet and got scared almost because they got the shit beaten out of them? I don't mean scared like they didn't have balls, but like just expecting something bad to happen. Therefore, he doesn't make all of his reads downfield. It's like, okay, if Mooney's not open or Komet's not open, I better run. I better run right now. This happened to Cade McNown. I mean, I know a lot of people don't like Cade, but in his second season, because he had an okay rookie year, but his second season, it was like first read or tuck it and run. And by like week 8 in Philly, he was out from an injury because he ran so much. And I don't want that to be Fields at all. But I can't really tell you what's going wrong with him. Like even screen passes look ugly and are either overthrown or underthrown, or he's missing wide open men. And like, remember the first interception in the first quarter? I didn't see it initially or hear it. I started listening in the second quarter in the car, but I watched it today. The first interception, to Mooney, I guess, was open for a minute. I think it was to Mooney, but St. Brown's wide open. I mean, wide open. The first pick is completely avoidable. Just throw the ball to 19. I mean, I don't know what he's saying. It's very disconcerting, though, Dan.
That's the same pass interception I was talking about today with one of my friends. The first read was EQ, and he was wide open. And for whatever reason, he went to Mooney, and that became the interception. So he's just same thing last week. He drops back. You could see him look to his right at EQ, wide open down the right sideline. And it's almost like he saw the safety drifting. He looked at him, and by the time he looked back, he felt like he lost his window and then just didn't throw it. But just throw the guy open. Just launch it. It's for whatever reason he's missing that guy that he's supposed to be hitting on the play. But those are also plays that, like last week's with EQ, was allowed to be improvised as the play went along, and he changed his route, and Fields just didn't pick it up. So hopefully, just repetition, he will start to understand where those hidden throws are, and he'll get better in it. I mean, we can't give up on him now. I mean, we love to overreact as Bears fans. We all want everything now. It's partially the reason why we haven't developed a quarterback over these years, because one little bad thing happens and we start shitting all over him. And
I agree with that. I agree with that 100%.
So I'm going to stay positive with this and just say that Getsy is taking the measured approach. Let's get the running game really going. Make people fear our running game. And then, boom, we can start to open this up for Justin.
I certainly hope that that's it. I guess New York plays tonight. I don't know much about what the Giants are doing, but they're 2-0. I don't know the strength of their defense. But you would like to think, it feels like Fields is never into a rhythm. It's so hard for him to complete a pass. And I don't mean because he doesn't have the talent. It's just, it's like a wide receiver, like a diva wide receiver, like Michael Irvin back in the day. If you didn't get him a catch in the first quarter, it's like he was out of the whole game mentally. So you just got to get him going, man. Even if it's just a safe screen to the fucking fullback, just get him like 2 completions and get him going on a drive. And I feel like that would do wonders. But I do love what's happening with the running game. I mean, Brad Biggs tweeted earlier, they said it in the CBS broadcast as well. It was the best game rushing for the Bears as a team since 1984 versus the Cardinals.
Right.
Which is a great stat. And the fact you couple that with David Montgomery, ooh, that looked bad where he got hit from behind and twisted. I hope that he truly is day to day, but I feel like that's coach speak. He just has bad luck. Montgomery gets hurt. It seems at the beginning of like every season, it misses like 3 or 4 games. But
And
I mean, go ahead.
Speaking of you talking about that, I have this little clip that I have ready for this. I kind of wanted to talk about Eberflus and him answering the injury question on Montgomery. So here's a clip of that.
Policy with injuries, but can you rule out something other than day-to-day for David Montgomery? Is that still the case?
Yeah, that's still the case. Day-to-day, it was the same today as it was yesterday. Yeah. Yeah, day-to-day. So we'll see what happens on Wednesday and then, going forward from there, for sure.
Does it mean that you've ruled out an IR stint for him?
What's that?
You ruled out an IR stint for him if he stated.
Yeah, I'm not going to comment on that.
I love how Eberflus, when they ask him the question about the IR, and he goes, huh? It was clearly spoken. He could hear the question, but you see the pause in his voice so he can rethink, how he's going to answer that question. This is how the media tries to prod and poke the head coach to try to get answers out of him when he has no reason to give an answer right now. So just to your point of the David Montgomery, because I was wondering how badly he was injured, and we don't have an answer. And there's your answer.
Yeah, well, that's typical Bears. Maybe that's typical everybody. I don't know. I don't follow the other teams, as you know, like we do the Bears, but you can't normally get a straight answer about things like that. It did look bad. I don't know if you saw the replay. He got rolled up from behind, and it looked like if that were me, I would be like, fuck it, I'm out for the season, bro. This is it looked painful is what I'm saying. I'm glad it wasn't his knee. They're saying it's just his ankle, right?
Oh, well, I don't know. In the game, they said knee and ankle, but I don't know where it went from there. So
I think the Bears said it was just an ankle, which, again, if it's one of those high ankle sprains, just an ankle could be 3 to 4 weeks. But a knee could be, Tariq Cohen and never play again. So thankfully it's not his knee. And especially in a contract year, you want him to do so well. I mean, you want him to be a Bear, but for his family and his livelihood, you want him to succeed to the point where at least get him a deal somewhere else. I don't want him to go, but I want him to get paid. If he would blow his knee out now, that's just going to fuck his contract up and everything. So I hope that he's back. And selfishly, I hope it's back with the Bears this season to help out. But what a game from, his reserve there, Mr. Herbert.
Yeah, I just had those stats up here. 20 carries, 157 yards for 7.9 average, 2 touchdowns with a long of 52. Pretty good game.
Yeah, that 52-yard run was sweet. It was great. And it looked like maybe Herbert ran out of gas because he almost tackled himself on the play, but I love that he secured the ball the way he did. There was no way it was going to get stripped out. He had in the right hand or the left hand with the correct hand, was I going to say, because he was headed down the left sideline. He protected the ball. He went down with it, and it just – I think at the time I heard Jeff Joniak and Tom Thayer saying, you're going to have to pass the ball sometime here with Justin Fields. You can't just keep depending on these big runs. And boom, there it went. So it looks good, though. I mean, if we can get Fields going, and if they can, I know Houston, their defense isn't that great yet. And maybe you saw how much we struggled to run the ball against San Francisco. But that comparison – between the two games, this was everything a Bears fan should love. All Bears fans, we love defense and running the ball, but everyone's saying it was like a shitty win and we shouldn't be happy. And fuck that, man. We're 2-1. I'm as happy as I could possibly be, minus Fields' lack of success.
How much fun did you have watching the 49ers pound the fucking ball down the Packers' throats in the playoffs? Like that one playoffs, was it 2 years ago?
In the championship game.
Twice. Yeah.
Yeah,
I'd be fine with that.
Absolutely.
I'll take that all day.
Absolutely. I don't know what happened with the Packers yesterday. I saw the score. So what they are 2-1 now. So as well. So we're in second, right? Minnesota's 2-1. We're 2-1. They're 2-1. I don't know. Does that put the Vikings ahead of us for some reason? Yeah, probably because we have one AFC victory and Minnesota has 2 NFC wins. So, but still, we're in the thick of things. And if you told us, I think any Bears fan, when they saw the San Francisco and Green Bay, they probably thought 0-2. And then we're going into week 4. If I said we're in a sort of a tie for first at 2-1, I mean, who would say that's bad?
That's right where I thought we'd be. Not me. Everyone had us 0-3 at this point.
Yeah, this crazy talk, So hopefully you can beat the Giants too. Look, New York could be 3-0. I don't want to shit on them, and I'm not going to talk I'm not going to say anything bad about Daniel Jones because I ripped Davis Mills last week, either on your show or Aldo's, and he had the game of his life, I think, sans that interception at the end. So I'm not going to say anything bad about Daniel Jones. He's a future Hall of Famer, okay? Let's go to New York and make this 3-1 next week, though. That's what I'm hoping for.
Yeah, I just had the stats up. Fields was 18 of 17, 106 yards, 2 interceptions, sacked 5 times for 28 or 24 yards, 8 runs for 47. Davis Mills, he's a statue, so he didn't really have anything to talk about for runs, but he was 20 of 32 for 245 yards, 1 touchdown, 2 interceptions, and sacked once for 8 yards. So
those field stats, I mean, take the running part off. We just look at the passing stats. It looks like one of the quote-unquote bad Rex games. Remember we had good Rex and bad Rex? That looks like one of the bad Rex games from 2006. Of course, he would bounce back with a good 102 rating the next week, though.
I'm gonna go on a little rant now. Like I added up all of the stats for this season for Justin Fields, and it's basically one game. I mean, in 3 games, he's like 23 of 47 for 297 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 4 interceptions. I mean, it's just so frustrating that we can't fucking develop a quarterback, man. Like, where's our Patrick Mahomes? Where's Justin Fields just coming out and lighting up a game? I mean, even fucking Mitch Trubisky had 6 touchdowns against the Buccaneers by this point in his career. So, actually, not this many games, but actually maybe this many games because he only played what?
Yeah, he didn't start until week 5, I think, and because Glennon had 4 starts.
Yeah, and what was that, week 5, 6, when he threw 6 touchdowns against Tampa Bay? I mean, I
think that was his next year, though. Yeah, because that was with Nagy.
Yeah.
When he threw, because he had the 1 year with Fox. He started around week 5, so he had most of that season under his belt, but not quite all of it. And then the next season, it was like week 4 or whatever against Tampa Bay.
But we have this talent that's twice as much as Trubisky ever was. This the most talented quarterback we've ever had, and he has 9 touchdowns and 14 interceptions after 14 games. Like, this is getting to be frustrating as hell that we just can't. Where's our big game? Where's our Mahomes breakout year? Where's our, even what's his name from the Ravens had a breakout year, MVP. I don't think he's that great, but he had an excellent season. It seems like for the past several years, there's always been some breakout rookie or second-year quarterback that takes the league by storm. I was hoping that was going to be Justin Fields. It's just so frustrating to me as a fan, and I know everyone as a fan, and I'm sure you're included, Dan, is that when is it going to happen? Why do we have to take this excuses approach that, I'm making excuses to make myself feel better as to why I think they're doing what they're doing with them? Why can't they just go out and sling it for 40 times a game and get 5 touchdowns and 375 yards out of them? When's that going to happen?
Or just at the end of the first half when they had the ball for, I think it was like a minute plus, and they get the ball back and they have, I think, all 3 timeouts, and you get a first down with Herbert, I believe. Like, why not just give him a chance to sling it downfield? At the very least, you might get a PI. You might get an illegal contact and continue the drive.
And the Texans were getting the ball back in the second half. So
right, and if he gets picked off deep, just consider it a punt. Especially if you're just going to run it out anyway. What difference does it make?
Man, that was what I had, and that was one of the first thing in my notes. Like, what the fuck?
I'm almost, and this is God, again, I don't want to try to play Dr. Phil here on the radio, but it worries me to the point, because remember we had all these things in the preseason. You and I personally hadn't spoken yet, but I'm sure you recalled that the preseason headlines were that the new regime, they weren't sold on Fields at all, and they didn't really like him. And then suddenly it twisted, and they said, or it shifted that, they did like him and he was coming along fine. But if they're afraid of him, like if they don't have enough confidence in him to try to get a drive going at the end of the half, when you have all 3 timeouts and about a minute to go and you're at home, is that Luke Getsy and Matt Eberflus saying to you, dude, we don't like our quarterback. We don't think he can do it.
At the time, I thought it was a Lovie Smith measured approach. Lovie Smith would just kneel down always going into the half. He'd never want to take a chance.
Right.
That's what I was feeling at the time, but I don't know.
I could see that making sense as well. It's like, well, we're playing almost a mirror image of ourselves right now. Lovie is going to play defense the way we want to play defense. He's going to be conservative the way we're going to be conservative. The defensive scheme in general is, at the very least, cousins, if not brother and sister. It's all related, so it's like, well, this is what he would do, so let's just go ahead and do that, and we'll just take our chances in the second half. So I could see that, as well, but it just makes me think that, all this negative talk on Fields, and now it's warranted. Maybe the coaching staff's hearing that too, and we're like, we don't want this guy throwing a fucking pick this deep in the end zone or close to their end zone.
Mm-hmm.
At least he had 2 really good throws to Komet later in the game that were big at the time, the first down completions.
Yeah. He knew, like you said, what he was going up against. They were both going to take the measured approach and take the conservative approach to the game. So he just,
and maybe that was the game plan going in. Yeah. Maybe that was the Bears' internal game plan. Like, no reason to rush things, no reason to take any tricky, but then again, Lovie ironically goes for it on 4th down and gets it. But no reason to take any unnecessary chances. Just play conservatively and we can win it. Maybe that was their idea going into it.
That probably had to be. I mean, conservative is running the fucking ball, and that's what their game plan clearly was. It was running the ball. So,
and they're doing it well, with the exception of the San Francisco game. Mm-hmm. I mean, they ran well against Green Bay too. So, how many times, myself included, the last 3 or 4 years where we complain, I say we, maybe not you specifically, but a lot of Bear fans were complaining that Matt Nagy wouldn't run the ball. So here we are, and now we can't pass the ball. Why can't we have both? But still, at least we're running the ball, which is something we haven't seen since Fox was here.
Mm-hmm. Wow, and now we're running the ball. There's nothing to complain about the running game. I mean, it was exciting to watch yesterday. Khalil Herbert he hits that hole so decisively.
Right.
And
some power too, considering he doesn't look so you see Khalil on the field and you're like, oh, look at that guy. He's really intimidating. You don't really think of that, but he's stiff arming people, he's cutting, he's running people over. I mean, he's got power. He's not finessed, despite the fact that he's not huge or too daunting, it would on his appearance, but man, he runs tough.
And I couldn't tell if he was getting gassed at the end there on that long run, or if that's just what his speed is. Sorry, I dropped my mouse.
No, I saw. I thought he ran out of gas just a little at the end, and he knew he wasn't going to get past the, and then he just protected the ball. Yeah. Ebner hasn't really gotten going yet like he did in the preseason, but if Montgomery misses time, I mean, I'm not going to say Ebner's going to step in and do the same thing, but I mean, he looked the part in the preseason.
Mm-hmm. What I liked about Khalil Herbert on that run is you can tell David Montgomery is a left-handed guy. He only holds the ball for the most part in his left hand. He very rarely switches the ball to the sideline that he's running up against. I mean, that's like football 101 that they teach you in high school. And that's one of the things that kind of bothers me. If I had to pick anything about Monty that I don't like, because I love Monty, it's that he never changes the ball to the hand that's on the sideline. So if he's running with the ball in his left hand, and he's running on the right sideline, he doesn't switch it. And you saw Khalil as he was getting to that sideline. He switched the ball. Yep. And I was like, good move right there. So hopefully Monty does more of that in the future.
There was a big run. I know I'm going back a long time now, but Rashawn Salam broke through late in 1995 against Tampa Bay, and he had like a 50 or 60-yard run, and he didn't switch the hand, just like you're talking about. I think in my head it was on the right sideline, and they come and just boom and knocked it right out of his hand. No one even hit him to go for the tackle. They just punched the ball before there was a peanut punch, but they just hit the ball and it flew out and Tampa recovered on a run of over 50 yards.
Oh God, right, yeah, I remember that.
Salam had a good rookie year with the exception of his fumbling, and then it feels like only the Bears could have a guy that goes for like 1,100 yards and then probably doesn't go for 200 the rest of his life.
Anthony Thomas.
Anthony Thomas was, I mean, to me, let me first say too, condolences again. I mean, we're talking about a gentleman that's not with us anymore, Mr. Salam, but and Benson's dead too, which is just awful. But yeah, Anthony Thomas had 1,200 yards in 01, but 02, he missed, people forget, he missed the last 4 games, and he had about 850, but he missed the last 4 games due to an injury. By 03, he still got over 1,000 yards. And then 04, they were like, okay, we got Thomas Jones. We don't care about you anymore. And look, I love Thomas Jones, but I was having wet dreams about the idea of A-Train and Jones in the backfield at the same time, and they never tried that.
I know. And Anthony or Jones was awesome.
Absolutely.
And them drafting Cedric Benson is just a fucking travesty. It's just, I'm like, why are you drafting? We don't need to talk about that again.
Yeah, it's like drafting. And again, Curtis Enos got hurt, which a devastating injury in his rookie year. He could have been a great running back. We don't know, but we'll never know. But again, you could have gotten Randy Moss there. And they drafted Curtis Enos, but Randy Moss overslept a meeting with Walter Payton, and they're like, oh, this guy doesn't have any respect for Walter, so we're not drafting him. Mm-hmm. But what if Moss had gone to Chicago?
He probably would have sucked.
I don't know. He had so much skill. He had so much skill. He looked, the Jefferson kid now in Minnesota, very similar in terms of just how they just beat people with pure speed down the field.
He could have, what Moss could have made Shane Matthews look good. That's what you're saying?
Yeah, well, I guess in 98 we still had Eric Kramer at the beginning of the year, so maybe it's a rebirth for Eric there, or maybe if Cade gets drafted and Moss is there, maybe Cade McNown is a stud. Who knows? I don't know. It's all about timing,
I don't think Cade McNown would have been a stud.
Yeah, apparently. I mean, even he says now, like, I just had a shitty attitude. No, I fucked it up. But he's a rich, like, stockbroker guy or something now out west. Like he made more money doing like his work than he ever did in the NFL. He's extremely wealthy. Yeah. He's very successful, some kind of entrepreneur.
Good for him, the young lefty.
Yeah.
All right, Dan, we have we're going to come after these special announcements here. We're going to bring Cliff.
I can't believe we've already done a half hour.
I know,
but it's time for Cliff Notes, right?
Yep. So we'll be right back after this.
Ellis Hall, since I came here, has been expanded twice. And both times after we were gone, by the way. So we never got it. But I mean, it was tiny.
Do you think that Olin Kreutz would politely ask you to leave the weight room because it was so crowded?
I told you what Olin used to say to me.
I know, that's why I'm asking.
No, and that was at 5:00 when there's no players around. Gabriel, get the fuck out of my weight room. And I go.
I think I got a commercial here.
Greg Gabriel Talks Football will be on tomorrow morning at 11 a.m. I think that's Eastern time. Yeah,
It is.
should be
It's in the
Eastern
morning.
time. Okay, 11 a.m. Eastern time on the Ballroom Network. So make sure you tune in for that. I always do. I love hearing what Greg Gabriel has to say. He's one of my favorites. Always has been.
He hates Mike Florio. I don't know if you ever heard him when they would be on the score together. It would be something like, whoever Bernstein's partner was at the time. They're like, we've got Greg Gabriel on right now. Hey, coming up in 5, we'll be chatting with Mike Florio. And he'd be like, he would just come out and say, oh, great. The guy that just makes stuff up. Okay. And just denigrate him right there on the air. He hates Florio. And then tells a story of where they would purposely leak erroneous info to him and he would run it on Pro Football Talk. They would just purposely give him shit. And they said he was just so mindless and wouldn't even check or try to get a source. He would just run whatever they gave to him. And they got off on that, just manipulating him. That's from Gabriel's side of it, but I don't want him to punch me, so I shouldn't say anymore.
Well, him and I would get along well then. I don't really care too much for Mike Florio myself. So maybe we should have him on the show one day.
Man, like I said, I'd be afraid to him to disagree. He gets a little volatile if you ever listen to the show or watch the show.
I know he does. I'd love to talk to him. I'm a huge fan. I loved him back when he was on the Bears. Like he was one of the only front office guys I ever knew who he was.
Right.
So let's go ahead and bring on Cliff Victoria now. For his Cliff Notes. Cliff, how you doing, buddy?
Hey, guys. Hey, chat. I laugh every time I see that intro. That's funny. So are you guys ready for this week's Cliff Notes? I'm much happier this week. Last week was just, let's put that in the past. That week's out of our brains now.
Agreed.
Last week was awful, but you did a great job. So I know you're going to get through this one a lot easier, Cliff.
I think so. It wasn't a great win. I expected more of a breakout game from the Bears this week, but it was a win. So that's, as Eberflus says, that's the most important thing. So
let's bring up your notes to the game here as you.
All right, here we go. This will help remind me where I'm at. And you guys can follow along with the sheet here. All right, time for Cliff Notes. How did this game start? All right, Bears' first play. You may remember it was a fumble. No, not a good start. I mean, come on, Justin, hang on to that ball. Come on, Bears, get something going. All right, first drive is pass heavy. Pringle catches a first down pass, and then Fields has a 30 or 29-yard run. Looks like Getsy wants Fields to get into the game early. The drive stalls, and the Bears kick a field goal. 3-0 Bears. All right, we're on the board first. Houston does nothing with their first possession, 3 and out, and the Bears actually did a decent job of stopping Pierce. How'd you guys like the start of the game?
I was riding high. Like I thought, okay, we drove down the field. We didn't get a touchdown, but we got a field goal out of this. The sky's the limit. Let's keep going. I was happy. How about you, Dan?
I again couldn't start listening until the second quarter. So watching it today, when I started listening, I think it was 10-3. Does that sound right? Did the Texans have 3 at first? Yeah, I think it was 10-3 Bears when I started listening. The start of the game, you felt like, okay, this could be Fields' game, right? He's going to have a good one. The offense has tempo, has some rhythm. Let's go.
Mm-hmm. I was excited for the second drive.
And let's get on to that. What
was different about that second drive?
What's different about the Bears' second drive? All right, the Bears reach a little deeper into their playbook on a play that we all love. At equanimity of St. Brown takes an end around and goes for a 43-yard gain. Now, the Bears blocked down on that one. They made it look like a power run. And they totally fooled the defense on it. Good blocking all the way along. I didn't see who it was, but one receiver ran all the way down the field on that one to make blocks down at the end against the quarterbacks. So wonderful play. All right,
it was a great sneak play, and he just caught that ball full speed and really showed off his speed.
Exactly. It was a very unusual end around, different than some teams do, different blocking scheme, but it really worked well. They should keep that one in the playbook.
Well, they tried it in the second half, and it wasn't so good.
I feel like they're trying to use that play to set something up in the future, too,
Yeah.
So, okay, Fields is under pressure. He throws the ball away. Now, this is the second time. He also did that on the first drive. Instead of running around or taking the sack, he threw the ball away. That's a mature move to make. So I hope he continues to learn that. David Montgomery goes down. This is about one of the worst things that could happen. He's arguably the Bears' best player, and he's out of the game. We're still going to have to find out how serious his injury is. Hopefully it's not too bad. Now, Justin Herbert comes in, and he runs and runs. He's like you guys were saying, he's got that quick burst, probably faster than Montgomery. They each have their different strengths, and I think they could be a great 1-2 combo when they're both healthy. So Herbert runs for first downs, and then for the TV, 10-0 Bears. Now, how are you guys feeling at 10-0?
Oh, go ahead, Dan. I'll let you go first.
10-0. I'm thinking everyone that was predicting this large blowout. Okay, maybe they're all right. I predicted a smaller score because I thought emotions and intangibles matter. But maybe this is the game that everyone's dreamt about, like where the Bears win 31-7 or 31-3, and it's easy and there's no anxiety. So let's go 10-0. Let's make it 17-0. Sky's the limit.
I'll tell you exactly what happened to me at 10-0. I get a text from a friend who I haven't talked to in like 20 plus years that I made friends again with because I started this podcast, and he saw it and reached out to me, and we started talking again. He's the one guy that's in my contact list that I haven't told not to talk to me during Bears games because I can't watch them live. I can only get them on NFL 22, which is after it's played. And I'm getting updates from him, and he texts me 10-0. I'm like, fuck!
Wait, you can't watch it live at all?
Nope.
All right, well, we'll talk about this off air, but download wait a minute. I maybe I can't do this. I was going to say, yeah, I can't. If I only have the basic Sunday ticket, I was going to say if I had the 1 year I helped Phil Latoshin out like this, I had Sunday Ticket Max and allowed him to stream with my account info. I was about to suggest I would do that for you, but I just have the base package, which doesn't allow me to stream it. I'm sorry. I would have definitely helped you if I had that, though.
I have a friend that used to offer that to me, and for some reason we sat there yesterday trying to get it to work, and it didn't work. So maybe it's the same kind of issue, and he just doesn't know it. But yeah,
I have the same issue. I'm using the NFL Plus feed, and my son walks in the house after work, and I haven't turned the game on yet, and I jump up to tell him, "Don't say anything about the game." He walks out, and the first thing he says is, "Oh, Bears won." Thanks a lot. I said, "Just shut up. Don't say another word." I'm actually happy to hear they won, but I want to see how they did it on my own.
So how far along do you have to wait before you can watch it, Cliff?
End of game.
Yeah,
so as soon as it's a final, you can start it?
Right.
10 minutes after.
Okay. Well, that's not too bad.
So then
it's not, except for a YouTube thing pops up from a subscription that I have. Bears win. It's like, oh, thanks a lot, Swifty, or whoever it was. It's like I just have to turn my phone off. Yeah,
I get emails too. It'll be like NFL shop. The Bears win today. Here's 20% off on some gear. So you can't even check your email if you're not watching the game live.
I know. Literally, I couldn't watch any of the other games that I had on, that were free. That the nationally broadcast.
Well, I've got an idea for you on that too, because I've done this before. For whatever reason, if I wasn't watching the Bears game live, you could zoom in on your TV. Like the view, like you have different types of view. Are you watching on your TV or your phone?
Right. On TV, yeah.
If you're watching on your TV, you can change the view of the settings to zoom, and it zooms in so far that you can't see the scores at the bottom. The only thing you have to be cognizant of is if they go to, let's go back to James Brown for the studio update. Bears, Texans. What's happening, JB? You have to worry about that, but the scores at the bottom won't be there under that view.
And it's just such bullshit that why are you torturing us with that? I have to pay $165 a month for DirecTV just to get that service. I'll gladly give you $400 a year for it. Just give me the damn service.
Well, it makes
like
it
I
tough
said,
on,
go ahead, Cliff. My bad.
Makes it tough on me because I play fantasy football and I like to watch the games to see what's happening. So I have to make the decision. Do I want to know what the Bears are doing and then watch it, or do I not want to know anything? So this is the first week I used it, and I decided not to watch it. By the way, if I keep looking at my watch, we got a hurricane heading our way, and I've got so many people that just keep sending me texts. So, I'm not looking at the time. I'm just reading the text as we're going along.
Cliff, we wish you well down there. We were supposed to come down there this weekend. We decided not to because of that. So we hope you're safe and everything's good down there by you.
We're keeping our eyes open about what's happening with it. It's hard to trust the media and even the government. I mean, they're always in panic mode. But so we're just watching the storm, seeing which way it's going. And we've got a plan in place that if it does swing our way, we're jumping in the car with the dog and heading east and south. Get out of the path.
Well, good luck to you and your family, sir.
Thank you.
Or Cliff, I don't mean to call you sir. Sorry.
No problem, Dan.
All right, Cliff, put on your Cliff Notes.
Yeah,
Houston came to play. Houston came to play.
Houston came to play. Mills hits a wide open Chris Moore, who's covered by Kyler Gordon for 53 yards. Now, Gordon's in a tough situation. He's got to play a really difficult position. He's a rookie. On some plays, he looks great. On this one, didn't look as good. Houston fumbles, and I see the ball come out, and I'm like, grab it. Oh, darn, Houston recovers. Now, Mills throws an accurate TD pass. At this point, it went to 10-7 Bears. So it was 10-7, Dan.
Okay, 10-7. My bad.
No worries. So Justin comes back in, and he overthrows his wide receiver. I think it was a tight end, and it's intercepted. So Mills is – I wrote a comment here. Mills is looking pretty good. Makes another 17-yard pass to Cooks. Now, what do you think about Shorty, what do you think about Justin's being so off target yesterday?
I don't know, Cliff. I don't know what to think of that. I'm trying to remain positive. So I just think he needs a little time in this offense to learn it. It's not going to happen overnight. He needs to know where all the hidden passes are, like I said, and he'll get there. It's a learning curve. It's interesting that you said that too, because I have right here, Davis Mills looks good, just like you did. Because,
great minds think alike.
He was zinging in some nice passes. And, I mean, statistically, he had a better game. Statistically, his career stats are better. It's just he doesn't pass the eye test like Justin Fields does. Justin Fields, he'll get there.
And he can't run.
No, not at all.
Any comments, Dan, or should I move on?
No, I basically the same. I've been on Fields' bandwagon, since the draft night. It felt so great. And when the guy that came out that announced the pick, and he's like, my Chicago Bears have drafted Ohio State's Justin Fields. And it just felt like the right pick. And I was happy about the trades. I want him to be great. And when I see that yesterday or hear it initially, it is very disconcerting because I hear like in the other side of my fucking head, like in a cartoon, like the devil and then the angel. It's like Mike Martz is there saying, I told you so. I told you he sucked. And I don't want him to suck, man. I want him to, but if I turn on ESPN or some other channel right now, I know they're going to say it and like he deserves it right now. He does.
Good comments. So, okay, let's keep it going. Roquan came to play. You guys remember Roquan last week? This week he flies in with a tackle for loss, faster than a speeding bullet. Welcome back, Roquan. Roquan has a great day, as you showed in the stats there, Shorty, earlier. 16 tackles and the game-winning interception. That won the game for him, that play. All right, Houston continues the drive, and Vildor tips a pass in the end zone. Eddie Jackson's standing right there and grabs it. Interception. Now, the funny part about this is the announcers mentioned Bears have never lost a game where EJ has an interception. So let's keep that streak going.
I think James Lofton, by the way, is very underrated on the broadcast. He's like, on their like sixth game on the rundown of importance, but He was a great wide receiver. That doesn't necessarily translate to make him a good analyst, but I think he's good. He started out back in the 90s, if you remember the channel CNN SI, CNN Sports Illustrated. He was on there doing highlights. I'm a fan of his work, even though he's a former Packer at one point.
Right. Yeah. He pulled that comment out of somewhere. So here, let's step it up a little, make sure we get this stuff done. Back and forth, punt. The game gets not boring, but I mean, it really slows down for a while in the second quarter. Both teams are punting. Kyler Gordon has a nice pass breakup, and we got to see Lovey complaining to the refs. Complain. That was sweet to see.
That was.
Now, Houston does get Pierce going. He's got multiple good runs that end up with him scoring a TD. 14-10 Houston. Now, if my son hadn't told me the Bears were going to win, I would have been a little bit concerned at this point. Pierce was starting to look good. So what'd you guys think of his running for the day? How'd the Bears do it?
He's tough. He was tough, man.
Yeah. Tough, quick. I was starting to get worried. I'm like, let's not get this guy on a roll against this. This defense can look pretty porous if it wants to, according to last week's game. So let's just not get him on a roll. And they got him on a roll on that drive where he scored the touchdown. So it was nice to see him not amass more than 80 yards in the game.
If I remember right, he was a middle to later round pickup or something for Houston. I don't remember exactly. I was thinking.
I think he was a third-round pick.
Oh, was he third? Okay. But even so, I mean, that's not bad. Nice pickup for them.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Cole Kmet, finally. Fields runs for a first down. Nice run by him. He then passes to the forgotten man, the man of 0 receptions for the year, our tight end, Cole Kmet, for 24 yards. This is the first catch for Kmet all season, and it comes in week 3. The drive continues until Fields gets sacked by a major O-line fail. And Bears kick the field goal, 14-13. It's a game.
Mm-hmm. They made it a game. Now I'm getting worried.
All right, 2-minute warning. Let Bears get the ball. Let's score.
Let's not.
Or not. Yeah, that's what I said, Dan. Or not. Bears have 1:04 and 3 timeouts, but they let the clock run down. So the fans boo as the Bears go to the locker room for halftime. Yeah, you got to try there. You guys agree with that?
Yes.
Absolutely. With the Texans getting the ball back to start the second half.
And you had 3 timeouts, I believe, too.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. And Lovey had burnt one of his own. I mean, they had 4 timeouts there. So why not just try to get down the field and at least get another field goal out of it? It's not like it takes that many yards to get a field goal. So I was livid at that point in the game. And the fans should have been booing Eberflus.
Yep, and the fans let them hear about it, too. They weren't happy about it.
Mm-mm.
So, okay, we get into the third quarter, and Herbert steps up. This kid, he'd be a starting quarterback if we didn't have Monty on the team. Running back. Bears get
Don't say that. Don't say that. That might lead the Bears to not re-signing David Montgomery.
I like David Montgomery. I think Montgomery is a great running back. So I think between the two of them, we've got ourselves a Jones-Dillon type of combo.
I concur. I like Ebner, too.
I do. He's still young. You can tell he's a rookie, but he's got potential. He's got moves.
Yeah.
He doesn't seem as quick to me as I thought he would be. He looks like more of a 10-speed bike starting off in third gear. He doesn't have that quickness that I would expect from someone with like 4.2 speed.
Yeah, like Herbert has the quickness.
Yeah. Yeah. Or even like Cohen had that quickness, that quick burst.
Right. East-west, unfortunately.
Yeah.
So Bears get the ball. Herbert has a huge 52-yard run. We've all seen that run. And I got to say, the blocking on that run was fantastic. I was really impressed with the offensive line play on the run plays. They still have work to do on their passing defense protection, but on the run plays, they're doing a pretty darn good job. So they're gelling. Okay,
I hope Mustafa gets taken out Sunday. I hope Patrick's back at center.
Let's hope.
Yeah.
Too many bot snaps. Something's not right there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he's a little overmatched when he's up playing center. He does things that a true starting center should not be doing. Okay,
Correct.
Fields rolls out to the right on one of the next plays, tosses the pass to EQ inside the 5. The Bears are rolling. Now, Herbert finishes off the drive with a TD run. He makes it look easy. It's looking like he's going to be the number 1 fantasy football waiver pickup this week. 2017 Bears. Bears take the lead. So are you guys relaxing a little bit again since we've taken the lead back?
At that point, I was, yes.
No, I was like, you got to get a stop first. If they can get a 3 and out, then we have control of the game. And you're going to tell us what happened next, so I won't steal your thunder. But no, I was riding in the car and still very much stressed. Or driving in the car and very much stressed.
Well, that's another thing. My freaking phone popped up a YouTube thing that said Bears win. So I know the Bears won. So at this point, I'm going, it's 2017. That must be the score of the game. So I'm like, I was a little less stressed because I just thought that was the win.
I was thinking shit like, oh man, Bears and Packers week 6 last year. I was listening in the car coming back from Slipknot going to Slipknot. I was like, maybe that's bad luck. Listening in the car may be bad luck. That's the kind of shit that was going through my head at that time.
It's almost impossible to not hear about the game. So I may just go back to my regular watching and watch the game afterwards, even if I know what's happening.
No kidding.
Okay, fake punt. Now, how much does Lovey want to win this game?
Oh, he does.
He's in his own territory, about the 40-yard line in Houston territory, and he fake punts. Nobody's expecting it. Who does that?
Mm-hmm.
A great play by Kyler Gordon, by the way, on 3rd and 1 there when he batted the ball down. When it looked like we were going to get it back, and then Lovey has that great call there on us.
Right. Yeah. Okay, now Roquan has another big hit on Pierce. I mean, he's flying around. It looks so much quicker than last week.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Houston fake punts it. It works. They move the ball down the field, and the Bears make a goal line stand, a good goal line stand. So Houston kicks the field goal and ties the game at 20-20. What do you think about the Bears goal line stand there?
Thank God. That's what I thought. Thank God.
Yep, me too. Because I can't see them scoring another touchdown in this game. That's like, yeah, I was like, thank God.
I'm watching the clock after this, and I'm thinking that maybe my son was wrong or something because Houston's got the ball and they seem to be moving the ball fairly well. So I'm concerned that they're going to move the ball down the field and either kick a field goal or score a touchdown. But Roquan,
or it was going to go into overtime.
Yes, yeah, could have been. But Roquan wins the game. So Fields starts the Bears drive and he gets intercepted again. His game started off with a fumble. It was not good. And then the entire game continued in a not Justin Fields type of game. He can do a lot better than this.
Mm-hmm.
Now,
yeah.
Now he had a terrible day. Next time he has a ball, he completes a pass to Mooney. Another invisible Bear appears. So it's a little bit of progress. Now Petrie on Houston, he's the same guy that intercepted Fields twice, sacks him by stopping the Bears' drive. What is it with the Bears where one guy, what's a Funga with the 49ers and now Petrie, these guys are just stepping up and destroying the Bears single-handedly. So
he's got to be in line for Defensive Player of the Week. Petrie, that was a great game by that kid for a rookie.
Do you all think there's a chance the first interception, though, was on the ground?
The ball touched.
Yeah, it looked like that's a call that maybe should have come back, honestly, I thought.
It's all how much control his hands had over it while it hit the ground. And plus, they called it an interception. If they would have called it incomplete, they probably would have let that stand. So, okay, Houston gets the ball back and prepares to start their game-winning drive. At least that's what I'm thinking at the time. Roquan says, no, and he intercepts Mills. This is the deciding play of this game.
Absolutely.
That one play won the game for the Bears. The Bears can run down the clock and kick a field goal. And Cairo Santos, he of the wet feet, he comes back and kicks it right through. Bears win 23-20. We go on to 2-1. and let's beat the Giants next week. So
Absolutely.
you guys have some comments about that Roquan interception?
I don't know if
about
Oh, go ahead, Dan. Go ahead.
No, I was just saying it's about time. I mean, he has had an interception before, but it's about time he steps up in a moment like that to win the game. That's what we want to see out of someone that wants a contract like that.
I was thinking that maybe the tip was the deciding factor on that. I didn't see like an all 22, but maybe if the ball isn't tipped a bit, maybe it doesn't go right to him. Although he did jump the route, but I don't care. He got it. He needed a big game. People were calling him like Slow Quan last week. Yeah. Isaiah Robles sent me a story where the bartender said he was coming in there and drinking and eating bad stuff during the season. Even took a picture of his credit card just to prove that this bartender said that Roquan was in there not taking care of his body. And that was kind of the prevailing thought. And then he comes back with 16 tackles and a pick, man, and just telling us all to go to hell.
Exactly. And Dan, that's a very good comment about that tip. I think that gave him that extra split second to get in front of the ball. Maybe he does it without the tip, maybe not. Now, I was calling him Loaf Quan last week, so I want to apologize to Roquan because the player we saw Sunday is the one that we want to see the rest of the year.
Absolutely. I always said that I liked Roquan, but he never really made any splash plays. And, man, look at that. That's exactly what he did. He won us the game.
Definitely.
All right, guys. I think that's enough for the show there. I think enough has been said. I think that says it all.
I don't think we said it all yet at all. I think we can go and finish our thoughts momentarily.
You are correct. We're going to be continuing this conversation on Bears Country Podcast Network, channel, and we'll do another question and answer segment with the chat at the end of the show. So hop over to Bears Country Podcast. We'll see you over there at 9:15 Eastern time. And right now we have to go for the South Burbs Hitmen coming up next on the Barroom Network. So until next Monday night at 8 p.m. Eastern time, we'll see you guys there. Remember to like and subscribe, set your notifications. And until then, 1, 2, 3. Bears!
Bears!